As you recall in an earlier training video, when we learned how to insert new slides, coming up here on the Home tab to the Slides group, click on New Slide. You get all these different choices of layouts to choose from, like just the title only, or maybe the title and to content. Or after you have a slide inserted, if you want to change its layout, you can do it over here in the thumbnail preview by right-clicking on it and going down to Layout and then selecting something else. Or you can do it over in the main working area. Right-click here, you get the same option, Layout, and change it to something else. Now, what if we, instead of going with the defaults here, created our own custom slide layout? And why would you want to do that? Well, for example, let me click off. If I'm creating a new slide and I can't find the one that's exactly what I want, but I find something that's closest to it, like the to content, so I go ahead and select it, insert it, come over here, and I have to delete one of the placeholders or content boxes, and then click and drag and move that over here, and then maybe move that closer. Well, if you're going to be doing that a lot, that's a waste of time, especially when I'm going to show you how you can create your own custom slide layout. So it'll be available for you to go ahead and insert it as a new slide layout, or to right-click and update a current slide within your presentation. So to go ahead and create your own custom slide layout, let's go ahead and hit undo a gazillion times. So we're back to our original two slides. And to create this, we need to go to the Slide Master view. And as you recall in earlier training videos, to go to the Slide Master view, come down below on the status bar, hover over the Normal command button, hold down the Shift key until Normal disappears, and then click on it, of course with the Shift key still held down, and then you're in the Slide Master view. So let's scroll up to the top, and let's select this one. It's important that before we come up here in the Edit Master group, and click on Insert Layout to insert a new layout to customize it, that whatever submaster or the main master you have selected down below, it's going to insert the new layout after it. So this one's Title Slide Layout. Let's just come up here, click on Insert Layout, and it's right there. Hover over it, and it's a custom layout. Okay, so over here, it gives me at least a title, and if I'm like, no, I don't like that, I can go ahead and click on the border of the title box, text box that has the title, hit the delete key, and there we go. Now I'm really starting from scratch. And for what I want here, how about if I go ahead and have a text box up at the top, not a title, but just a simple text box, and then maybe a content box over here that has all those different commands that I can insert, like a table, a chart, smart art, and then over here maybe just a placeholder, a content holder for only inserting pictures. So to go ahead and do all that, well, come with me up here on the Slide Master tab to the Master Layout group, and that's what I'm looking at. Content. Let's insert some content, or also known as placeholders. Click on it, and you get all those to choose from. So the first one, the content, is a placeholder that contains pretty much everything that somebody could choose from. Like as you can see on this one right here, title and content, click on it. You get all those icons that in the normal view, they can click on it to insert a table, a chart, smart art, and so on. Let me go back here, select it, so I can insert it on the right slide, and come up here, insert placeholder is what the content is. And then you got your text box where you can only type in text, including bullet or listed items, or just a box that you can only click on to insert a picture, a chart, a table. So it's taking the content and it's breaking it across just having them individually versus a one-stop shopping where you can just have that inserted and let them pick and choose from whatever they want here, or if it's not somebody else but it's just you working in the presentation, then you just get one choice. And you can also do media or an online image. So let's just do text to start off with. Select it, and then you get a black cross. You can go ahead and click and drag to draw your text. And there you go. So when you type in text, you can type in some simple text, but it's going to be bulleted, but you can of course go ahead and remove the bullets, whatever you want to do in the Slide Master view, because this is the master of this layout that we're creating. And if you have additional levels, you see where it's cut off. If you go down to the fourth bulleted level, it won't be seen. So you may have to go ahead and hover over the bottom middle resizing handle until you can see arrows pointing up and down, and click and drag and stretch that out. Now, if you have the fifth level in this hierarchical structure, typing in this list, as you indent and go over and down to the fifth level, well, you'll be able to see it, as opposed to cutting it off and saying, you can only get to 3 levels over in the normal view for this slide layout. So, well, I can leave it like that. I guess I'm good for now. Or you can come in here, click, and, delete it. You don't have to have a third level or a fourth level or a fifth level. And then we can go ahead and click off. Now let's go ahead and insert two more. Come up here, click on Insert Placeholder. Let's do Content. Click on that. And then we got the black cross. Just click and drag about, ooh, yay big. And of course you got the resizing handle, so you can just have a lot of fun with that and get really spiffy. And then let's do one more. Oh, where am I at? I'm on the Format tab, so it's the Related Contextual tab for the content box that I have selected down below. And the content box has everything. It's got your text, and you can see it right there, or you can go ahead and select one of the other options to insert, like a table, chart, smart art, and so on. So let's go back up here to the Slide Master tab so I can get back to the Insert Placeholder. In the Master Layout group, click on it. And let's come down here and just only allow online images in this placeholder. Click on it and then click and drag. Okay, that one's skinnier than that one. If I want to make them equal, then with this selected, I can come up here on the Related Contextual Format tab, go to the Size group and go, okay, this is 3.5, well, let's go the other way. 3.5 inches tall, 3.17. I actually like the width of that one, so I think what I'm going to do is click and drag the resizing handles. I don't want to get too far over there. Select that one, push him in, and then drag him down. And he's a lot bigger, and then drag him up. And you notice when I click and drag, you get the guideline, the red dashed line. Well, if you can't see it, I was going to say, let me click over the middle right resizing handle and go over, and you get the guidelines that it shows that they're now equal in width because you got the red dashed line in the current box that I'm dragging matching up, or also displaying over in the adjacent box. So if you really want to verify it, you select this one, and if you can remember 3.4, 3.65, select that one, 3.4.365. And if you're not good with freehand resizing, you can select it and then come up here and actually type it in or use the spin dials. Uh-oh, see, I did it again. 3.6. Okay, so now I have to go 3.65, hit enter, there we go, and they're equally proportioned and at the same height, all with the help of those fancy guides, the red dashed lines that we talked about in an earlier training video. Okay, so what should we call this? I've got my, picture, content, and text. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you can go ahead when you hover over this and give it a name. Instead of custom layout, you can right click on it, as we learned in an earlier training video. Go to rename it, and let's delete it. And this one's going to be my picture or pic, comma, content and text. Rename, and that's how it rolls. We're good. Let's go ahead and close out. Come back here. We can right click to either update one of these slides, or we can come up here. Let's just insert a new slide. Yeah, that sounds good. Click on it, and it's right there. Pick content and text. Oh, that makes me smile. Select it, and there we go. You can see there's the text to add. I'm going to add some text, and that's fancy. Click off of it, and well, if you don't like the bullet, you can come back in here and then come up on the Home tab to the Paragraph group, and it's highlighted the bullets. Just deselect it and click off, and there's some text. And then down below, let's do our content. You can also add some text here, and there's more text. And then when you hit enter, it's at the same level as the one before. Unless you hit the tab key, then it pushes it in. And this is the subtext, or you can go ahead and delete all that. And when you do that, you're back to these other options like inserting a table. 5x2 may be too much. 2x2. And there we go. And then, of course, it's used to organize your data therein. So you can go ahead and type your titles in the first row, the row header, and then the data down below. And, of course, you can hit the tab key and tab key at the end of each cell in the last row to go ahead and add additional rows down below. And we talked about our tables in an earlier training video, so there you go. And if you go ahead and hover over the border of it, hit the delete key, you get your text box back. Now this one, you can also insert pictures and also online pictures, where this one, click icon to add online image. Can I click in here, just add text? No. So we can just click on it, find a ghost to fulfill the placeholder's purpose, hit enter, and you know there's only really one happy ghost I like. It's this character right here. I think he's just a gas. Go ahead and select him, click on insert. I mean, how can you resist such a happy smile? and click off, and there you go. And then of course you can always come over here and right click and change, is that layout picking content and text available to change to? Of course it is. Select it, updates it there, and it doesn't delete everything that's already there, it just moves it out of the way or puts it off to the sides, so you don't have to worry about that. Like, let me go ahead and hit undo because that doesn't work with this. But come back here, and if I right click there to also change it to a different layout where I just want, hey, let's just go with a blank slide. Select that. It keeps whatever was there that had something in it. You know, if it was the placeholder here that had some text, it would have the text there. And let's see, remove the placeholder. Let's delete that. You see, you don't get the placeholder back that says go ahead and add an online image. And then up here, well, there it is. You can delete that. So you don't have to get concerned about changing the layout and losing all your stuff. It'll be there, just kind of moved off to the side as it makes way for the new stuff. And then that way you can still use it if you need to in rearranging to accommodate for that new layout. Okay, one final thought. You cannot delete your custom layout if it's already being applied to your slides. So it's not being applied to any of these slides because, you know, we right clicked on it and said this was a blank one, and that's some other layout here, and this one's the title slide layout, so we can go ahead and delete it. But if I right clicked on here and I said layout to show you as an example, pick and content, and then I go back to the slide master, hold down the shift key, click on normal, let's scroll up, and it's right there, and I right click on it and I want to go ahead and delete it. I can't do it. Why? Because, click off, hover over it, it's being used, as you can see in the pop-up, by slide 3. Oh rats. Let's go ahead and close out of the master view. Just come over here and right click and just say, okay, I got to get you off of this layout because I want to get rid of them. And we can go back to blank, just like the look you're giving me. Like, are we just about done with this video? Of course we are. We just need to go back to the slide master, hold down the shift key, click on normal, and scroll back up. It jumps around. That's kind of funny. And go ahead and select it. And is it applied to anything? Hover back over it. No. And when you right click, hey, you'll get the delete option. Oh, it's toast. It's gone. Well, let's go ahead and do that again, this time with a different layout. No, I'm kidding, and you thought we were going to go on. Well, if you're noticing the time down at the bottom of this video, you see that I couldn't go on any further because it's going to stop right now. There are two things I want to go over when it comes to themes that I think you'll find helpful or that you may come across that you may have questions on. One is, as you recall in the Slide Master training video, when you want to apply more than one theme to your presentation, you have to create an additional Slide Master because the Slide Master can only handle one theme at a time, so you have to create another one if you want to apply a second theme that applies to other slides, like maybe slides 1 through 5 has one theme, slides 6 through 10 has another, slides 11 through 50, and so on. So you'd have to go ahead and create an additional Slide Master for each theme. Now, having said that, if you come up here and you've already figured this out, that when you want to apply another theme, if you right-click on it, guess what? Not only can you apply it to all slides, which is what we found in the Slide Master, or when you just simply click on a theme, like, let me click off, click on it, it updates all the slides within the presentation, and I still have one Slide Master. Well, let me come down below, hover over the normal button on the status toolbar, hold down the shift key and click on it, and you can see I just have one Slide Master because I don't have more than one theme applied to my slides throughout the presentation, so it can handle it. So let's go ahead and close out of the master view, and let's go ahead and hit undo. But did you see that when I came back here to the design and I right-clicked, how not only can you apply it to all slides, but to a selected slide or selected slides? So what that means, instead of you going back into the Slide Master saying, okay, I got to go ahead and create a second Slide Master for this theme that I'm going to be applying here to just one slide or selected slides and keep my other theme, it'll automatically do that for you. So when I click on Apply to Selected Slides, now I have two Slide Masters with two separate themes in the Slide Master view. All right, let's go ahead and take a look then. Let's hover over the normal button down below on the status bar, hold down the shift key, click on it, and there we go. See, that's number 2 for the second theme automatically created for us. And we've got our original here. Let's go ahead and close out. So you want to keep that in mind. Let me go ahead and hit undo, that when you're on the Design tab, you can right-click and certainly apply it to a selected slide, but just know when you go back to the Slide Master view, it automatically created that extra Slide Master to accommodate that second theme. Second of all is that when you're working with the variant, click on More. And we talked about this in an earlier training video on themes and backgrounds, how, well, you know how you can apply a theme, and then if you want a variant of it, you can change one of the elements, like if you want to update the color for the theme because you don't like the current color or the font or the effects. Well, I want to focus on the fonts. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you got to watch that first training video on themes and background. So what I want to cover here that I didn't cover there is that when you hover over the fonts here, well, first of all, let me go through a quick recap of what you're looking at. So you got the big A and the little a, right? And then you have the first line, then the second line. Well, you've got the name of the font. This one's a custom one, Spiffy, but this is for the headings, that's for the body. The capital A is for the headings, the small one's for the body. And that's how it's supposed to look over in, well, your slide. So when you hover over like Office, if you look over here in the main working area, you'll see that we've got the title here. That's the heading that you see up here, Calibri Light. And then you have a text box down below, which is the body of the slide here, just a simple text box. And so when I hover over the title Office 2007 through 2010, all headings, if I click on it throughout the entire presentation, will be updated from its current, whatever it was previously, to Cambria, the titles on each slide, the headings, and then the rest of the text boxes down below the body will be updated to Calibri. And you can see that when I hover over it, it updates, right? Okay. Now, if you're going over this and you're hovering over any one of these and you click on it to apply it and it doesn't update, well, you'll see it when you hover over it if it doesn't update, so it's definitely not going to change when you click on it. That means that, let me come up here and click on the Home tab, and let's do the body of the slide here, the text box. Let me select it. That means when you come up here in the font group on the Home tab and click on the drop down arrow, you see how it has theme fonts and it just has two here, as we saw on the Design tab and the Variants? Well, that means that you don't have it selected, and you can tell whether or not it's a theme font because it doesn't have body next to it in your selection. So you got Calibri both here, right? You also have Calibri down below that's not part of a theme font. So if I scroll down in the search, because it's sorted alphabetically, there you go. We've got Calibri, but it doesn't say body or heading next to it, right? Right. So if I go ahead and select it, this is not part of the theme fonts. When I click off and I come up here and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go ahead and update all the fonts throughout my entire presentation. Click on More, go to Fonts, and I go to Office, or maybe Office 2000, 2010. You see how it's just updating the heading here as I hover over each one, but not the body or just the simple text box. Again, the heading is the title of each slide, and text boxes or the body of it that's not a heading is, well, referred to as the body, or the lowercase a here or the second line here of the two in the fonts. And so that's because it's no longer part of a theme. We changed it and we said don't belong to the theme. And so if we want to be able to bring that back, so when I hover over any one of these, it'll automatically update to Corbel or Candria. Let's scroll down and find something different. How about Franklin Gothic Book? And this one's Franklin Gothic Medium. So the medium is for the title of each slide. Update all the slides throughout the entire presentation with that title. And then Franklin Gothic Book will update, well, not this slide, because this one's not a theme font. This one we chose, it's static, it won't update. Which brings up a good point. You could actually do this if you have like 100 slides and you're like, okay, whenever I update the fonts throughout my entire presentation, slides 1 through 95 will be tied to themes, so I can just come here and in a single click update them all at once, but slides, 96, let's say through 100, they won't be automatically updated. I'll have to do that manually. So you can pick and choose if you want in bulk to update in a single click all the fonts, the titles, or the headings and the body, or just certain slides. So to get back to where we can go ahead and have this to be a member of the themes group, let's go ahead and click and drag to select it. In the mini formatting toolbar, click on the font, and what we have to do is we have to select body, because it's not a heading, right? But it's in the theme font group, so whenever you click on the drop down arrow and you're like, what the heck, I only get 2 choices for themes? No, this is where it's currently at, or you can select to apply it, like for body, and then if you want to update everything at once, and that's the purpose of the themes, is to update everything throughout your entire presentation in a single click. Well, now that we have that as part of the themes, let me click off, When I come back up here, Design tab to Variants, click on More, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to update all the fonts within my presentation. And I hover over it. You see how it's updating it here. So you got to watch when I move my mouse here. And let's go scroll down. Let's do this. Franklin Gothic and Franklin Gothic Medium. So now it's happy. So when I select that, it updates it not only on this slide, but all the slides throughout the entire presentation. So it's important that when you select some text, that if you're going to be working with themes and you want to apply to all the slides, don't come over here in the font group and click on the drop down arrow and say, yeah, I'll choose something else here. That's not already applied as a theme. Don't update your fonts in here. Update your fonts in a single click across all the presentations from the variant group in the font, from the fonts arrow, and select it here. And then if you're like, wait a second, I would like Century Gothic to be the heading and then TWCNMT, whatever, for the body. Well, we covered how to create your own custom fonts and choose that for your heading and the other one for the body. So stating it simply, you can do one of a couple of things. You can either go ahead and update all the slides in a single click. Great. Just work with themes. Don't change your fonts up here on the Home tab or right-clicking in the mini formatting toolbar. Just stick with your variants here, the fonts, to update everything. If you only want to update a part of your presentation, like maybe slides 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you can go ahead and change the others. So come up here on the Home tab and put it out of the Themes group and choose something else, so it won't be updated with all the rest. When you do go to the Design tab and update everything at once in a single click, except for, like I said, if it's not a theme font. A footer is any data you'd like to repeat at the bottom of every slide in the presentation, like page numbers, date, and time, or any text that you want to add. But when it comes to headers, well, they're not for slides. They're on printed materials such as handouts and note pages that we'll go over a little bit later on in this video. But for right now, let's come up and insert a footer for all the slides throughout the presentation, like a page number or a slide number. So when I get to that slide, I could see, oh, I'm on slide. Well, if I come to this slide during the presentation, it would have a 3 there. And I'm like, oh, okay, I've got no more to go. That's the end. Let me come back up here, select slide 1, and then come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the text group, and there you go, header and footer, click on it. And header and footer window, we have it for the slide, and we have notes and handouts. Now for the slide, everything here is going to be at the bottom of each slide. For the notes and handout, which we'll cover in just a minute, well, it can be at the bottom, but also in the header. So you won't find the header on the slide, just only on notes and handouts, printed materials. So to keep it simple, let's start with the slide here. What do we want to include on the slide? Now, come over here in the preview window, and you see that little rectangle box up at the top. That represents the title, and then down below the body of the slide, the content. And then below that, what you want at the bottom of each slide or in the footer section, and you get these 3 little boxes. Those are representative of what you select over here. So which one represents what? Because, you know, one of them is going to be over on the far left-hand side of the slide, one in the middle, and one to the far right. Just go ahead and check it. When you check it, ooh, that lets us know what's happening over here. When you check it in the preview, it's all colored in. So you got the date and time. You can do it automatically. So every time you open up the presentation, it'll update to today's date. And you can change that and say, well, I just don't want today's date. I would like the date and time. You can select that. And then you can change the language. You can also, instead of just having it always update automatically when you open up the presentation, you can have it fixed and just say, okay, this is when I created the presentation, and type in a number. I'm going to go ahead and have it done automatically. And then for, well, and I don't want the time in there. Let's just do it in that format. And then down below the slide number, so it's going to be one of these 2 boxes here. Guess which one? Well, it's a number. It should be pretty small, right? Right. So let's go ahead and check that, and it fills it in over to the far right, the number. Yay! And then you can have something in the footer. Let me go ahead and check the box, and then down in the box below, go ahead and type something that you would like to appear at the bottom of every slide in your presentation. Perhaps something spooky. And then, last but not least, you can check Don't Show on the title slide. The title slide is like the cover page of a document where you don't put a bunch of page numbers or headers or footers on it. It's just the introduction. So you can say, okay, don't put it on the title slide, and then you can apply it to the selected slide, which, well, it's the title, I don't want to do that. Or apply it to all the slides. Click Apply to All and It's not on slide 1 because that's the title. Slide 2, and hey, I know it's kind of small, but it won't look like that when you go and start your presentation. Click on slideshow. Well, okay, it's a little bit small, but not as small. In any case, if you want to go ahead and change it so it's bigger, badder, and beautiful, or it stands out more and not so faded with the text looking so anorexic, let's hit the escape key. We can go to the Slide Master view by coming down below. Oh, no, hey, I'm going to fool you. Let's come up here to the top, go to the View tab, go to the Master Views group, and click on Slide Master. As a quick reminder, there's more than one way to get to the Slide Master. Let's go ahead and scroll all the way to the top. And what you can do is, well, on any one of these submasters, the master of this particular slide layout, the title slide, you can come down here and you've got your date, your footer, and your page number. You go ahead and apply formatting and say it's only to this layout, or you can do it for everybody, all the slides within your presentation, which is what I'm going to do. So it updates on all of them. And then come down below and select your text box. And you can come up here, click on the Format tab. You can change, let me click on the More button for the styles and choose a style. Oh, that's not bad. Moderate effect, purple, accent 2. Let's go ahead and select that. What about the text inside? Let's go ahead and click in there and select the text, get the mini formatting toolbar, make it bold. You could try red. That might be a bit, let me click off, see how red, oh, that's horrifying. How about if I go with right click on it, mini formatting toolbar, maybe I better stick with black. Yeah, that's okay. And let's stick with black, and then let's change the size. Let's see how big I can get it without getting too big. So it pops out of that text box. 18, click off. Hey, looking pretty cool. So let's go ahead and select the others and update those as well. And let's select that. Let's come up here and do word art. I can't even see it. How about red? White? Well, click on more. And I'm just hovering through it. It's giving me a quick overview of what it looks like. Okay, spooky, yellow. Sure. Select that. And then let's go ahead and change the size of it as well. Let me go ahead and triple click to select it. And let's see how big and spooky we can get. Well, you get the idea, right? You're just going through this and updating the text, formatting the text or the text box itself. Let's go ahead and select that. And let's go ahead and click inside of it and select that little symbol there that represents the slide number. And let's see if we can increase that about yay big. And click off. Okay, it's going to be bigger than the text box, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like. Come down below and click on normal. And there you go. Okay, pretty crazy. It's got a shadow behind it, so it's popping out at us, today's date. But it's updated on every slide except which one? The title slide, because we said don't apply it to it. And let's go back to slide 2, come back up, insert, go to the text group, click on header and footer. And then if you don't want any of this, well, just go ahead and uncheck all of them. And it still remembers spooky, and then go ahead and click on apply to all, and they disappear. So we're back to where we started. Okay, second thing, let's come back up here, click on header and footer so we know how to do it for a slide, you know, what to include, date, time, slide number, and footer. How about notes and handouts? So what you do here is you look over in the preview window and you get a total of 4 boxes. So up at the top, you get 2 boxes, your header section, and of course you can check this and you'll see that it's highlighted. So the date and time is the top right, page number is checked and that's the bottom right. And then we've got the header, which is the top left, and then the footer, which is the bottom left. And you can say, for the header, the name of our company, and the footer, we hunt for spooks. That's it. Just go ahead and apply it to all. And when you print it off, either notes, speaker notes, or handouts, that's what you're going to get at the top of every page, in the header section, and at the bottom. Let me show you. Let's come up here, click on File, go backstage down to Print. Okay, this is the slide view. That's not a handout or a speaker note, and we can go ahead and change it from full page slides. There's your notes page. It also includes it on the outline, even though it doesn't say that as the header. It just says notes and handouts. Well, it's also on the outline, but let's go ahead and choose note pages, and there you go. Hey, GOPS up at the top. You probably can't see that. Alrighty, let's go ahead and you come down here and click drag to zoom it in. There you go. See that? GOPS. Let's scroll over, and then the date, down to the bottom, page number, left. We hunt for spooks. Let's go ahead and click on Zoom to Page. And let's come back down here, click on Notes page to Outline. It's on the Outline page of every page that you print off. And also from Outline to, well, any handouts, whether you want 1 slide per page or 3 slides per page. And it will be on every page in that handout, up at the top, the header, and in the footer section. And of course, get rid of it. Just come back to the Insert tab, Text Group, Header and Footer. Same thing, Notes and Handouts. Uncheck what you don't want to include and click Apply to All, and we're back to where we started. Now, hopefully, you've watched all my training videos on Notes, also known as Speaker Notes, because I'm going to show you how you can modify the Notes Master. So when you want to do a bulk update across all your Speaker Note pages, well, before you print them off, like maybe resize all the slides or the notes area, or put it in a different position, again, across all the Speaker Notes, then go to the Master. In fact, if you recall, in one of the training videos, let me come up here, click on the View tab, and come over here. Well, there's the Master Views. We'll get to that in a minute, the Notes Master. But do you remember? Well, did you watch the training video on the Notes page when you click on it? And let me come down below on the status bar and click on Fit Slide to Current Window. And you can see down below on this side of the status bar, I have a total of 9 slides. Well, 1 slide per page with their corresponding speaker notes. And so did you remember we came in here and we could resize like slide 1 or the first page here with the slide and its corresponding speaker note, type in some speaker notes, and then come down here and go to slide 2 and change that and do these customizations. Let me go ahead and hit undo so we can get back to the way it was. Well, that's fine if you want to go ahead and if you got 50 or 100 slides and you want to do it separately, great. But if you want to do something in bulk and to update all of them at the same time, like have all the slides about yay big, let me go ahead and hit undo, or have it moved up here. In any case, you want to do it across all of them, then go and use your Notes Master. It's just like the Slide Master for all the slides. If you watch the training video on that, where we want to go ahead and insert a logo on all our slides. Well, if you have 100 slides, you can go ahead and insert it one at a time on every single slide, and yuck. Instead, whatever you do to the master, it updates everybody else. And so let's go ahead and go to the Notes Master, and you get one template. And so you get just a slide template, whatever you do to this. If I go ahead and resize it and click and drag and move it thus, and right there, I got it in the middle because I can see the red guide going down the center of it saying, hey, you're in center now, or in the middle of the page, and let go. It's going to update all the other slides for me in bulk, in mass. And when I say slides, slides that are, on these pages for the notes, the speaker notes. And you come down here, let's select the text, and say that all the speaker notes has to be in the color red. And you can click and drag and, get more room when you print these off. And it's pretty much like what we did in the notes pages, resizing and moving things around. But in the Notes Master, you can also see the headers and footers. Now here, these placeholders, you can go ahead and select them and format them and things like that, but you won't see them or they won't be printed off unless, as you recall in the headers and footers training video, you come up here and click on the Insert tab, go to the text group and click on Header and Footer, and on the Notes and Handouts, you actually have the box checked. So the placeholders are there for formatting and to resize the font therein. And right now, even though they're all displayed there, as far as printing these off go, only the page number is going to be displayed. If I want to see the header, well, then I can go ahead and check it and type something in there. And then for the footer, and then click on Apply to All, it'll update them in the Notes Master here, and you can see it there. Just because you have placeholders doesn't mean that it's going to be printed out on your speaker notes there. So in any case, let's go ahead and come back up here and go to the Notes Master tab. And we'll talk about the placeholders in just a minute. And let's come down here and let's click in here and we can format the header, select the text and say, well, let's make it purple. Let's make it larger, 32. Okay, let's come in here and type in mono, type Corsiva. And there you go. You can format the text within the boxes here for your headers and footers. You can also format the box. If you want to click on the edge of the box, come up here and click on the Format tab, and you can fill it, change the color of the outline, do some shape effects, or do some presets here. Like, we can do that, see what it looks like, ghastly header. All right. In any case, that is going to update on all the speaker note pages, and you'll see that when I close out of the master view. Oh, there you go. And okay. This is interesting. Do you see how the text box is overriding the slide there? Now that's for slide 1, but if I go down to slide 2, or the speaker notes page 2, 3, 4, 5, that brings up a good point. Let me scroll back up to this one. Why is this one different? Because if you come in here before you go to the Notes Master and make some changes, it looks at that and says, oh, I can't touch that. You've already made changes, so I'm not going to update that in the bulk update for all the other slides, or in this case, all the speaker note pages. So keep that in mind, because if there's anything that you want to update individually, then I would recommend updating in bulk first. Go to the Notes Master, have them all resized so you don't get something like this, in which case you'll have to go into it and fix it or resize it so it looks like all the others, and that's a pain. And let's come back up here, click on the View tab, and I want to show you one other thing. Back in our Notes Master, you got placeholders. So what happens is, like for the header, when I deselect that, is it going to print still? Well, because I can't see it here, let's come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the header and footer, and even though the box is to display to print something, there's nothing in there. So oopsie doodle, click cancel. Keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and hit undo because I like it. So you can go ahead and just get rid of these placeholders, but remember, they won't show up unless you check the box in the header and footer by going to the insert to the header and footer and checking it accordingly. So let's go ahead and close out of here, and you can see it there, so obviously it should show up in the print preview. Control P on the keyboard to go backstage, or you can just click on File, come down to Print, and that's for the full page slides. We want to click on the drop down and change it. Go to our speaker notes, and hey, it's a ghastly header and a spooky footer, and then the page number. We don't have the date because I didn't check the header to include the date, and so that's going to be on all our pages. Very nice. As you recall in an earlier training video, you can print off your slides as a handout. For example, come up here, click on the File tab, go down to Print, and then change it from full page slides to any one of the handouts. Like if you want 2 slides per page, 3 slides, select that, and there's 3 slides for that page. And in any case, let's go ahead and hit back. And what I want to show you here is how you can modify the Handout Master, because what you do in there will do a bulk update to all the handouts. Let's come up here, click on the View tab. It's just like the Slide Master, how you would insert like a logo into the master and it would update all the slides within your presentation, as opposed to going into each slide and updating it individually. It's the same thing as the Handout Master. So when you print off all your slides, let's go ahead and click on it. Here's the master. Well, let me come down below on the status bar and click Fit Slide to Current Window, and we can see it now. And so whatever I do here, when I want to be able to add text boxes, change the background, the colors, or even change the headers and footers, it'll update all of them. And you can see I've got 3 slides here, but that was what I had selected in the print preview. Isn't there more that we saw there? Of course there was. Up here on the Handouts Master in the page setup, you can click on Slides per page, and well, that's what we had in the print preview. You can do 2 slides, and there you go. Now, don't be fooled by what you see here. This is not a template. No. That if you update for the 2 slides, that it'll only affect the 2 slides. For example, if I come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the text group and click on Text Box, and let's say for right now, I would like to focus on 2 slides per page. So I want to go ahead and click and drag a text box where I can go ahead and add my company's website here. So let's just try to center it as best we can, shrink it up, and then click and drag and use the guides until it's centered. There we go. Okay, so that looks good when I have 2 slides per handout. But if I come up here and say, okay, I'm good, click on File, go down to Print, you see how I have 3 slides? It's behind the second slide. It only works, let me click on the drop down arrow, with 2 slides, so it's right in the middle. I mean, that's fine if that's all you want to focus on. So you can go to the Handout Master and it'll update all of it in bulk, like every single handout that you have where it has our URL in between 2 slides. But keep that in mind that once you update it and you come back here and you're like, hey, maybe today they want to be able to add some notes and have lines, and you select 3 slides per page, well, it's going to be a mess. So go ahead and click back, and then back here, if it's 3 slides per page, then you may want to click in here and move the text box into a position that won't be in the way or be behind and being cut off by another slide. So again, it's got nothing to do with saying, hey, let me come back to the Handout Master. I would like to go ahead and create a template for 3 slides per page and change that for 4 slides. It's just showing you the layout of what you can choose when you print this off of how it will look with whatever changes you make in here. So if for the next year I want to do 4 slides per page, I'll go ahead and tweak this and put this where that needs to go and put everything around it so it doesn't overlay on top of the slides, and hey, that's great, but only for the 4 slides per page layout. Now, separate from that, you can do other things like you've got your header and footers, and as you recall, if you want to be able to have these displayed, these are just placeholders. So you got the placeholder group. This just makes it disappear, so well, obviously it's not going to pull in to your handouts, but if you want it to appear here to be able to make some custom changes to it, well, you can click in here and say this is my happy header and then click off. But for that to appear in the handout, remember, you have to come up here. If you watch my other training videos dealing with the Notes Master, you click on the Insert tab, go to the text group, click on Header and Footer, and it's for the Notes and Handouts. You have to actually have, see how it's not checked? It has happy header. You have to come in here and you have to check it and apply to all, otherwise forget it. You're not going to be able to see that come out when you print off your handouts. So the purpose of this is, well, you can type in text here or, header and footer, check the box and type it in there. That way you know that it's not just sitting there without, showing up because we unchecked it up here at the top in the preview in your handouts when you print them off. So let's make sure you got it checked and, apply to all. But in addition to that, on it showing up on all your handouts, is that you can come in here in the placeholder and say, okay, whatever's in here, I want to make it bold, and I want to change the size, make it bigger, so we can see more of it, change the color. You can also, not only the contents of the text box, but the actual text box itself, select the border of it, click on the Format tab. You can choose an outline color, orange, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, there you go. Or you can do effects, maybe make it glowing, and we'll do that one. And let's see, it did have a name to it. Now I don't remember it. All these have names. Shape fills, outline fills, even your shape styles, colored outline accent 2. Let's go ahead and maybe this guy. No, that's okay. So you can go ahead and do it for each one of these text boxes for your headers and footers. And remember, they won't show up unless you click on the Insert tab and check the box here in the header and footer. And so for right now, I'm pretty happy with that. And well, let's go back to the Handout Master because you can have a background style. Go ahead and go down to Format Background and you can choose a picture. Alrighty, let's do online. Oh, it's my happy ghost again. I'm telling you, I'm not letting that go. And check and click on Insert and there he goes. Alright, so he's there. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like when we go File to Print, and it should update across all of them. If you don't see it over here, well, I got to change it from grayscale to color. Oh, there he is. I only have a black and white printer, but now he shows up. Cool. Let me go through. He's on every single slide. Let's go ahead and go back, and if I click on Apply to All, guess what happens? Did you see that up here in the Themes group, the Edit Themes? It's got him as the background for the theme. So he's not only going to show up as the background of the speaker notes, but, watch this, File, down to Print. He's going to be on every single slide because that's the theme. Not just for the background, but the theme affects your slides. And the slides are part of your handouts, and so I get them on each slide. So that's a good point. Don't click Apply to All. If you don't want to apply it, let me hit Undo. To everybody else, and you can see the themes doesn't have the ghost or all the other slides on your handouts. So when I go ahead and click on File now and go down to Print, there you go. It's not on every single slide, just as the background for the handout here. Fun. Oh, Dreamforce is being cut off. Well, we'll take care of that. Hit back and either don't print 3 slides per page and just do the 4, or click on the text box, delete it, and there you go. And then of course, if you don't want this guy anymore, You can do a solid fill, it's white. Now when it comes to creating a new presentation, as you recall, you come up here, click on File, go Backstage, down to New, and you can start from scratch with a blank presentation or choose from one of these fine fancy ones. Or better yet, if you've got one that you would like to save as a template so you can base all future presentations upon that. For example, let me hit the back arrow. I've got one here, and it's our meetings that we have. Let's say that I'm going to have a lot more meetings, but they're not always going to be annual, maybe in Salt Lake, and not, well, we won't have the year. And then maybe on slide 2, we won't always offer breakfast, we won't have group meetings. In other words, I'm trying to find out all those things that aren't going to be dynamic with each meeting, that will always stay static. Well, one thing's for sure is that we'll always have, like I said, on this slide, the president's address, fundraiser ideas, and maybe, well, what we're about here. Let's go back, but not always annual. So go ahead and make the changes of things that are going to be dynamic, that will always be changing with each new presentation. And then when you're done, go ahead and save it as a template. And you can do that by coming up here on the Quick Access toolbar, clicking on Save As, or you can go Backstage, File, down to Save As. Let's click on Save As, since it's here. Then change the type from a PowerPoint presentation to a PowerPoint template. Not the other PowerPoint template that has an earlier version, 97 through 2003, but the current one just says PowerPoint template, and it's got the extension .potx. And the extension is the extended name of whatever name you give this presentation. It tells the operating system what program to open up this file in. If you want to learn more about extensions, you can watch my Windows training video on extensions. Let's go ahead and select it. The moment I change the type to a template, it dumps me into the Custom Office Templates folder. You can save it wherever else you want to save it, but just know that if you go Backstage and you select the Custom option, it's going to be looking in this folder. And so if it's not in this folder, oh, oopsie doodle, oh well. In any case, let's come down here and give it a name. And you can see that by default, it's got a generic name and then dot and the extended name for the operating system. So it can know that POTX, hey, that's a PowerPoint template. It opens up in the PowerPoint program. In any case, you can delete it here. It will remember the .potx. You don't have to type it in. Again, you can watch my Windows training video on extensions, because there's some things you can do or can't do that if you don't do the no-nos, then you'll find that you can't open up a file in one of the programs because it doesn't know what program to open up the file in. In any case, this is going to be our GOPS meeting template. Click Save, and you can see up on the title bar the name of it with the extension .potx. So any additional changes that I make while it's still open will update that template, but I'm not going to do that. Let's go ahead and close out. And we wait a while, and the boss comes up to me and says, okay, let's go ahead and have another meeting. It's going to be this week or next week, and let's have some weekly meetings. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I already have that saved as a template. I can just go ahead and overwrite with some of the changes that are made by opening up PowerPoint and going Backstage, File, to New, to Custom, and it's going to be in the Custom Office Template folder. Click on it. There we go. All you have to do is go ahead and click on it, and it gives you a preview, so you can go ahead and toggle through to make sure, yep, that looks right. And then click Create, and it's got everything there. We just have to make a few changes, right? Let's go ahead and close out. You can also right-click on it to also do a preview, or just go ahead and click on Create, and there we go. Up at the top on the title bar, you get a generic name until you save it. Then it'll force a Save As. So if you come up here and click on Save, it does the Save As so it doesn't overwrite the original, which is a template. And it can't because, well, we're not in the templates folder, first off. And second of all, it doesn't have the .potx unless you change this to PowerPoint template .potx and, go ahead and overwrite, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But right now, let's keep it simple. Just go ahead and click Save. And then make your changes. This is going to be our weekly instead of annual meeting, a few tweakages here and there. But for the most part, you wouldn't have to insert like your logo or other things because it was already done for us, and we just basically created the copy of the template. And you can always click on New and click on that template until the cows come home forever. It'll always be there until you delete it. So you can always base new presentations upon that template. Oh, isn't that fun? So if you want to be able to overwrite the template, like let's say, okay, you know what? It's not always going to be in Salt Lake City. Delete that. I need to update that. Of course, it won't always be weekly. So you make some changes and you want to update your template so all future presentations that are based upon that template won't have that. Then go ahead and come up here and just do the same thing. Save as. Change it from a PowerPoint presentation to a template. It goes into the Custom Office Templates folder. It's right there. Select it so it updates the file name so it matches. So when you click Save, it says, are you sure you want to replace it? Of course I do. And then you can close out and open up PowerPoint later on, and you'll have those new updates. Now let me go ahead and open it up. And let's say that I want to delete it now. Well, you can just come up here, click on Save As. And I know we're not saving anything, but what you can do is when you change the type to a PowerPoint template, now you can see the template that you want to delete. Now that you can see it, you can right-click on it and delete it. That works, right? Yes. And then it's gone. You're good. You don't have to click Save or anything else. You can just click Cancel. Now, if you do run into a problem that when you go backstage File and you go down to New and you click on Custom and you don't see these folders there, like your Custom Office Templates, when I click on it, there shouldn't be anything because we deleted it. In any case, what you need to do, and it backed me out to the front stage, is go backstage File, go down to Options, go to Save, and then down over here where it says Default Personal Templates Location, that may be another folder or it might be totally cleared. So you can go ahead and, well, I was going to say write down the address, but the user login won't be training for you. It's whatever your user login name is. So to get the address for you, well, one thing you can do, let me click Cancel. And when you click on Save As, and you've got change it to the PowerPoint template, it takes me to that folder, right? Well, while you're there, you can come up here and click on the folder, and it gives you the actual address to that folder. You can right-click on the selection and copy it, alrighty, and you can click Cancel, and then you can, well, if you right-click here, you'll be able to see it when I paste it. That's the address, but you wouldn't do that. You would go File, and go down to Options to Save, and you'd right-click in here and paste it. So, if I delete it, right-click in here and paste it, there you go. Good. So once it's pointing to that folder, which brings up a good point, you can point to any other folder you want, but remember, if you point it to another folder, well, when you go File to New, when you select Custom, well, you're going to have another option here. So you'll have a different name than the Custom Office Template folder. So like, for example, if I back out of that, and let's do the desktop. Let me minimize that down to the taskbar, and let's open up the Exercises folder and click on that folder, and then right-click on the address to copy it, close out. I'm probably going a lot further in this training video than I cared to, and go ahead and restore that in PowerPoint. Click on File, go down to Options, go to Save, and then Control-V as in Victor to paste it. So the default personal template location is going to be there. So when I click Okie dokie, I click on File, go down to New, select Custom. Well, now it's pointing to the Exercises folder. So hey, I don't have to go with PowerPoint's default template folder location. You can update this and choose another folder. Awesome. What you're looking at here is my first slide, the introduction to my electronic scrapbook. And to make it electronic, I've got to insert something electronic like audio or video. And in this training video, it's going to be audio. I'm going to show you how you can insert, trim, fade, and bookmark it. So to insert audio, just come up here, click on the Insert tab, come over to the Media group, click on the audio drop-down arrow, and there you go. You get two choices. You can either insert audio, well, if you have an audio file on your PC or your computer, or if you don't, you can record it, of course, if you have a microphone hooked up to your computer, because if you don't, no mic, well, you're not going to be able to record anything. Let's go ahead and do that first. Click on Record Audio. And what's the name of it? Oh, that's so generic. Let's go ahead and delete that and call it for what it is. That's right. I'm going to clap to myself. I'm going to have my own applause, because when it comes to introducing myself, hey, somebody's got to cheer me on, and since nobody will, I'm going to do it myself. So to go ahead and record myself applauding, go ahead and click on that red circle right there. And when you click on it, it's going to start counting off the seconds. And so it's recording right now. So, oh, yay, yay. We got to get going and then click stop. And then to hear that back, to see if you like it, you can go ahead and click on the play button. It's going to start counting off the seconds. And so it's recording right now. So, oh, yay, yay. Okay, let's go ahead and stop that. I think I missed a clap. So to go ahead and re-record it, and just come over here, click on record, it starts back to 0. Oh, yay, yay. And then click stop, and then click play. And if I don't like that, click on re-record, and back and forth until finally, if you're good with what you got, 5 seconds applause while I was talking a little bit. In any case, go ahead and click okie dokie, and there you go. You get a little speaker there that represents the recorded audio. It also will represent any inserted audio. We'll go over that in just a second, but right now when you hover over the speaker, you get the play bar down below. When you hover off, it disappears. When you select the speaker and hover off, it stays up. So to go ahead and to go through the play bar down below, there's the play. In fact, when you hover over any one of these buttons here, it tells you what it's about and the shortcut keys. So this is to play and to pause. Go ahead and click on play. Click on record, it starts back to 0. Oh, yay! And then pause. And then when you come over here, you can see somewhere in the timeline of the audio, you can click to jump right to it and play from that point on, and then pause it and just jump around and at any point that you like. And in fact, when I go to the end, it's about almost 6 seconds. And then you get the option to move back 1/4 of a second with each click, and then the shortcut keys accordingly, and that pop up there, and move forward. And then you've got the current time that we're at, and then you've got, when you hover over it, the option to either mute it or unmute it. Well, if I mute it by clicking on it, it drops the slider all the way down to the bottom. Click on it to unmute it, it goes almost to the top. If I really want to rock out my audience in the presentation, let's max it and click and drag it up. And that's pretty much it for this, but with it selected the speaker, you get its related contextual format and playback tabs up at the top. That will give us more options, but before I do that, let's go ahead and delete this so that way you know how to delete your audio, whether it's recorded or inserted. And let me show you how you can insert an audio file from your computer. This one's recorded, so let's go ahead with it selected, the speaker that is, hit the delete key, and it's gone. And then to insert an audio file from your computer, up on the Insert tab, go to the Media group, click on the Audio drop-down arrow, Audio from your computer, okay, PC to be politically correct. Click on it, and it opens it up. And down below, it's looking for audio files with these extensions. What are extensions? Well, if you look here, I've got the name of my file. It's called audio. Then it has a dot and then another name. Well, on most operating systems, Windows, it doesn't have it where it shows that extended name. And the extended name, or known as the extension, tells the operating system what program to open up this file in. And so it's hidden because if you mess with that and you change it, then the operating system won't know what program to open up the file in. And well, that could be a mess. In any case, if you want to learn how to see the extensions, be able to change them if you've got some issues with the file that's not opening up in the correct program, you can watch my Windows training video on extensions. In any case, so it's looking for audio files with those extensions, and if you do have an audio file that doesn't have that extension and you think PowerPoint will still play it, then click on the drop-down arrow and choose All Files, and you'll see all the files. In any case, I'm sticking with audio files here, and it's still there. And double-clicking on it, and there's the speaker. And so with it selected, it's the same thing as when you're recording. You get the play bar, and in addition, as I mentioned up here, you get its related contextual format and playback tabs. First of all, the Format tab. Now the Format tab, if you watched earlier training videos on pictures, shapes, objects, you get pretty much the same thing. You get your corrections, color, artistic effects, and also picture styles. When you hover over it, you can see the speaker. Now this is for the speaker, the reflected rounded rectangle. Well, I recommend that you watch those other training videos. For here, let's just keep it simple. And let me just do one like picture effects for the speaker because, I mean, it's a speaker. How much do you want to fancy it up for your audience? Let's go down to glow. And, you know, having a glowing speaker, that's hot. It's a glow 11 point red accent color 1. Select it, click off, and oh, that's on fire. Or it's glowing, nice and warm. In any case, I'll let you go ahead and go through the formats, and you should be up to speed right now if you watched all my training videos on when it comes to formatting your objects, pictures, shapes, and so on using the Format tab. And then let's go to the playback, and I'm going to go from left to right. So first off, you can go ahead and obviously play it as a preview, and then pause it, and it pauses right there. You can also add a bookmark, which whatever the current time is at, will add a yellow circle to it. Click on it, and there you go. And you can see that when I hover over it, it says bookmark 1, and to get to it, Alt-Home or Alt-N to skip. What that means is if I'm past it and I want to jump back to this bookmark because, the audience laughed and they said, oh, play that again. And so I want to get back to it really quick. All I have to do is hold down the Alt key and hit Home. Let me play it and go Alt-Home, 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 Home. You see what I had to do? Alt-Home, when it got past it at a certain point, like a half a second or more, it went back to the bookmark. But if it wasn't quite at a half a second and I hit Alt-Home again, went right to the beginning. And it's the same thing when you're going and you're playing and you want to be able to jump right to that bookmark. Well, you can see the shortcut keys are Alt-N. So this may not, I'd have to do this really fast. Let me click at the beginning here. And then let's play Alt-N. You see it just jumped right to the bookmark. Now usually when I add bookmarks, I don't know where in the heck I'm at. What's this? 4.06. When I'm listening to it, I'll click on Add Bookmark when I hit that point that I think that the audience wants to hear back or that I want to play back again. So click play, and then, okay, that sounds like where I want to go ahead and play at that point again. So I have two bookmarks. This one could be like, hey, the one that I want to emphasize throughout the presentation when I want to come back to the slide and say, let's play it again, but not from the beginning. And maybe this one is to play it back in case if the audience is like, well, I want to hear that again. I'm thinking from that point is where it really gets informative. Okay, it's a clap, but you understand what I'm saying with any audio that you use, especially if it's long, which brings up the next point. Well, before we go there, if I want to get rid of one of these, like this one right here, select it, come up here and remove it. Okay, now I just have one. And we'll go over this during the presentation when I actually give it to show you what it looks like because we're in the design view, as it were. We're not actually in the presentation view, but let's go through the rest and then I'll show you. Come back up here and you can trim the audio. So click on it, opens it up, and you can cut off the first part of it and the last part of it by clicking and dragging the end and start time bars in. And if you want to get more persnickety, you can use the spin dials and go to 1 second, or you can come in here and get really persnickety, if I can use that word so loosely, and actually type it in. And so let's just do, well, let's do this one. Of course, you can go ahead and advance it with these back and forward arrows, and well, I'll just use the spin dial. And let's just go to 6. Okay. And then click Okie dokie, and it trims it and it adjusts it, and this bookmark is appearing closer to the end because we cut off a second from the end, about that much. In any case, when I play it, I have less now, and of course I can always go back to it and say, we better bring it back all the way to the beginning and hear it from the beginning and all the way out to the end. So it doesn't permanently clip it off, just temporarily. Click cancel. And then you got the fade options in and out. So if you got audio that just comes out blaring right off the bat, I mean, you don't want to jar your audience, do you? Oh, maybe you do. In any case, you can go ahead and tick mark it up to like a second. So it goes from 0 and it has a second to bring it up to the normal level. And if the normal level is really jarring, you may want to push that out a bit more so it's softer. So it delays a little bit more before it gets up to that heightened place where it plays it at normally. And then fade out, instead of just stopping abruptly, you can give your audience a warning that we're just about to end with it going, you can do maybe 2 seconds. So, wow, let's see, what do I got here? So we're at about 5 seconds, so it would start at about 3 seconds and playing it right on out. In fact, let's do 2. So with it set like that, if I go ahead and play it, okay, you probably didn't notice it like I did. I mean, 2 seconds, probably not long enough to be able to get the feel for it, fading in or fading out, but there you go. And then next, audio options, the volume, when you click on it, it's set to high. And that's how it translates down here when you hover over the speaker. Okay, let me click off first, then hover over the speaker. That's high. That's not all the way to the max. So if you're up here thinking that that's the max, it's not. When you select medium, you hover over here, there's medium. When I bring it low, click on it, that's low. So when you click high, you're like, I wonder if that's high enough. Not quite. Click and drag that and below the speakers during the presentation to get really all the way to the top. And then next you can start, well, you get three options: in-click sequence, automatically, or when clicked on. Automatically means that when I start the slideshow, it just starts playing. When clicked on, it means that during the slideshow, when I click on it, it'll start playing. In-click sequence means that, well, when I'm clicking and I've got a bunch of animation going on, other things, it depends on where this appears in the sequence, which we'll go over in a later training video. It just means if I have 3 clicks before it, because when I click here, it plays that. When I click here, it plays this animation. Then when I click again, it'll hit the audio. As far as what we're seeing here is that if I do in-click sequence, I don't have to click on the speaker. When the presentation begins, I can go ahead and just click once to advance to the next slide. But because this is in sequence, that would be second, and it would play, and then I could advance. Well, let me go ahead and come up here, click on Insert. We need another slide, don't we? Click on New Slide. Let's do a blank one, so we got 2. Let me go back to 1. And then let's go ahead and take it for a test drive. Let's come down here, and it's in-click sequence. Click on Slideshow. Okay, so there's the show. When I click, I didn't click on the speaker. My mouse, well, you got to see my mouse. It was over here. Okay, let me start over again. Let's go ahead and hit the Escape key, and then let's play it. And then let me move my mouse around. See how I'm moving it? I'm not clicking on the speaker, but when I hover over it, you get the play bar, right? So if I don't click on it, but it's in sequence, when I click off of it, it's starting to play. So that's what it means in sequence, because I only have like basically 1 click before I go to the next slide, because the next click just advances to the next slide and everything on this slide disappears. So let me hit the Escape key, and let's go ahead and let's go back to slide 1, select the speaker, come back up here to the playback tab and change it to say when I do it automatically. So the moment I begin the presentation, it'll automatically play. Ready? Let's click on Slideshow. Just automatically plays. Okay, hit the Escape key, and then finally it won't until I actually click on the speaker. All right, ready? Let's go ahead and begin Slideshow. Click on it. Move my mouse around. There's the play bar. So when it says click on it, well, I'm adjusting it. It's not actually the speaker. It's when you hover over the speaker and you get the play bar, but clicking on the play button there. And then do Alt Home, Alt Home, Alt Home. Okay, if I do it too many times, that play bar just disappears. But it still remembers where I'm at, and it'll take me to the beginning if I hit it fast enough and it doesn't get past. Well, let me hover over it. This bookmark here. So Alt Home takes me there. If it's past it, Alt Home. Then if I hit it fast enough, Alt Home takes me to the beginning. And then of course you got your play options. If during the presentation you're like, oh, that's too loud, then you can, well, move your mouse around, hover over it, and then bring it down. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the Escape key to get out of here. And let's come up here and let's see, play across slides. Well, what happens is when you go from one slide to the next, it'll automatically cut it off when it goes to the next slide. But if you want it to continue playing across the slide until it finally finishes, then check that. So let's go ahead and start this again. Click on it, and then let's click on it. See how I went to the next slide and it's still playing? Okay, so that's what that means. Hit the Escape key. Let's go back to slide 1. Select the speaker, play back. Play across all slides until it's done, or better yet, play across all slides, and then when it's done, loop it. Do it again until it's stopped, and then when it's stopped, play it again. And it'll keep playing and playing and playing. It's just crazy. I know. Let's go ahead and click play. And let's go ahead and click on the speaker. It's playing across all slides, and then it's looping again. Okay. That's enough of that. I don't want to keep playing that. I have to crank up the speakers real loud for you to hear it on your end. Let me go ahead and select the speaker. And this time the play bar, let me click on it. And then you'll notice that when I hovered over the speaker, it didn't bring up the play bar. I just clicked on it, started playing it. It's because we've got both of these boxes checked. And so we've got looped until stop, play across slides. You can rewind it after playing, because when it's done playing, it just stays at the end if you want to rewind it and get ready for a replay later on here. You can actually hide it during the show, so that way if you select like automatically, see if this makes sense, well, we won't play it across slides, but if it's done automatically, do you really need to see the speaker during it? No. Go ahead and check it, at least I don't, and then begin the slideshow. And then I just clicked and advance to the next slide, and it cut it off automatically, because let me go back to slide 1, select the speaker, Come back up here on playback. I unchecked play across all slides. And then over here you got no style. Click on it and it removes all the custom settings that we had, and it goes to the default in-click sequence, which is new to PowerPoint 2016. PowerPoint 2013 only had automatically and when clicked on. So that's something new and fancy. And then play in background, when you select that, it automatically goes through and it checks the defaults for playing in the background. So it's automatically going to play. It's going to play across all slides and it will continue to play. Playing in the background, that makes sense, and hide it during the slideshow. So, if you have some sort of melodious thing, you're doing yoga and you're going through this, and just breathe as you're going through the slides, and you got this music playing in the background with some subliminal message saying, buy more of Kurt's training videos, give him thumbs up on YouTube, keep buying more. In any case, you get what I'm saying. And then of course you can, uncustomize that and check whatever you want or deselect it. So no style, or if you want it to automatically just select the boxes for you to play in background continuously through all the slides throughout the entire presentation. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.